Hi there, I'm Dean Heskin, President and CEO of Swiss America Trading. You are tuned into our podcast, The Secret War on Cash. I have with me my co-host today, Chris Agelastos. Where is he? There he is. How are you, Chris? Great seeing you.
Um, yeah, doing well, man. Cruising along. Already through February, or just about to in a couple days here.
Yeah, it's unbelievable. I mean, it is. I have a feeling this is going to be a quick year. It's
Yeah,
been a quick year for metals. Metals have been, I mean, really, for all intents purposes, they could take a breather for the rest of the year because they've already
they've already
far
done so well.
exceeded far exceeded what the predictions were. But however, I don't think they're done. I think that
No,
we're going to see a little bit more movement out of it. And even if we don't, I mean, the bottom line is for those of you who we're going to talk about actually buying metals today in a little bit more specific fashion, but the even if they don't perform from here, the bottom line is it does not change the fact that each and every one of us who invest and have savings and things along those lines need to be diversified into tangibles because world is kind of getting to be a little bit of a what's the word, volatile place to live, and not least of
yeah,
which on the financial front. So what I wanted to talk about today, Chris, is is a very common um, part of everyday business in the metals arena, where something that I've been in doing this for 33 years, you've been doing it for over 20 years. um, the bottom line is that you have many people out there, and I know you run into this probably daily, that aren't aware of the fact that through your retirement accounts you can actually own physical gold and silver.
yep.
And it's it's something completely foreign to most people. However, it's a very common thing for that people do,
Mm.
and it's a very easy thing for people to do. And so, I've got from Swiss America website here a few different things that we're going to go over.
Hmm.
But the first headline here: convert existing IRAs to gold IRAs. And this link, in this link, you can be, for those of you tuned in, you'll find it in our show description. But these are some frequently asked questions about precious metal and gold IRAs. And you have your traditional IRAs, you have your Roth IRAs, and then you have, and this is one that really a lot of people don't understand. And again, over the years when I was dealing with clients a lot, that you can take an old 401k actually and put that into gold. And a lot of people, they just had these old 401ks and they were invested, they just left them alone. They didn't realize that they actually can use it. They can't spend it, but they can convert it into, again, a different form of an IRA. And in this case, we're talking gold here. So
Yeah.
I guess, Chris, and you look at these questions that these FAQs here listed below, the bottom line is kind of walk people through the process of what's involved with taking a qualified plan or an IRA or a 401k and putting that into gold. What do they need to do, and what does that look like?
Well, the first step, obviously, is to contact us because at Swiss America, we'll help walk a person through opening their new precious metals IRA and transferring from their old IRA or old 401k, 403b, really most any retirement plan, pensions, deferred comp plans. There's some stock option plans. There's all kinds of different retirement savings vehicles that we can help someone transfer into a precious metals IRA. And in doing so, there are no tax consequences because that's the first big thing that people always ask us is this going to cost me, tax dollars, or am I going to be penalized? Maybe they're under retirement age, and so they think that moving their plan into gold is going to cost them early withdrawal penalty or something like that. But with us walking you through it, we make sure that the money goes directly from their client's previous tax deferred plan over to the precious metals IRA. So that's the first part of it. We help with that paperwork. Most of it's electronic these days, and typically only takes a day or two to get set up, and then maybe another week for the money to be transferred over from their other plan. So, inside of 2 weeks, sometimes even faster, somebody can go from considering a gold IRA to actually having one open and ready to purchase physical metal.
So, and that's thanks for the information. All very good. And again, we have these FAQs that are listed here.
Mhm.
The one thing that's not on there, we should maybe consider putting this on the website. So, as a person buys gold, how, how easy is it for them to liquidate that? Let's say, for
Yep.
instance, they're taking a distribution, and or for whatever reason, maybe they need to pull money out of their retirement account. Is that complicated? Is it lengthy? How does that work, or what does that look like?
Yeah, no, it's just as quick, really, in most cases as it would be if they left it in the stock market. Most of it is done over the phone. If somebody called up and said, "Hey, Chris, we have some repairs on the house. We need $10,000 from our retirement plan." We can lock that transaction in over the telephone, and typically inside of a week, the funds are direct deposited into their checking account. So it's the government has made sure, one of the good things that the government has done, that retirement dollars are easy to access for people, whether it's for them to take a fun trip or an emergency that comes up and they need money. So it's really nearly as liquid as any other investment that I've seen.
All right. Thank you for that. Now, for those listening, if you're still not convinced that you should own gold, let's talk a little bit about that, Chris. It's going to CC will pull up our next little portion here of the from the website,
Mhm.
planning a precious metals portfolio. And in this on this particular link here, the why precious metals rise, and it kind of gives an explanation, some of the things that we've talked about before.
Mhm.
But you look at a falling US dollar. I think that's something that we're all pretty familiar with because we're living that.
Yep.
uh, World inflation, growing commodity demand, the geopolitical uncertainty that we're looking at literally every day, uh, ETFs, increase in internet trading, growing interest in coin collecting.
Mhm.
So this is 7 reasons that are listed here, and all very good ones. But let me tell you, there are even others that are equally as compelling, or maybe they fall into like subcategories of these other areas. But to elaborate a little bit on this, Chris, like the average person that you're talking to, if you had to say, like, typically speaking, why are they buying gold? What are they looking to accomplish, and how has it worked out for them?
Yeah, I think for the most part, probably the biggest thing that I hear clients saying that they want out of their precious metals investment is stability and safety. They like the idea of having something that is real. And when I say real, we all use dollars every day to pay for our bills and our groceries and put gas in the car. But at the end of the day, we're not really holding most of our dollars. You might have a little cash in your pocket, but all of our dollars are really just digits on a statement in a computer system. And the bank says we have so many credits, and we're able to use our debit card or bank card to access some of those credits. But with physical gold, you actually have a tangible item. So they like knowing that something is actually there in the vault. And because that's the other thing. And I think most people know this, when they put their money in the bank doesn't just hold it in a little box in the vault and wait for them to come in and request dollars and hand it out. I mean, they loan out approximately 90% of your deposits.
Yeah.
That's why they offer CDs. Let me lock up your money for a 12-month CD, and I'm going to loan 90% of that CD to the next couple people in line that need car loans or personal loans or second mortgages or what have you. So people like the idea of knowing that their wealth, or at least a portion of it, is actually sitting in a vault waiting for them when they need it. And I think that stability is probably the number one reason, and all the other reasons kind of combine. The falling dollar and inflation. They want to know that their precious metals are going to grow to offset those things so that when they need the money down the road in retirement, they're going to have enough to pay for all of these inflated expenses. And gold historically has done a very good job at offsetting inflation and a falling U.S. dollar. So those are some of the biggest things. And you're right. All of these others on here. Increased commodity demand. I think a lot of us have heard about all the silver that is used, for example, in manufacturing electronics and computer chips and solar panels and things of that nature. So you have all of these other factors, putting pressure behind rising prices for gold and silver. But I think at the end of the day, for most people, they want something real and something that's going to grow in value so that it's there when they need it down the road.
Yeah, makes perfect sense. And you bring up a good point. A person who's keeping money in a bank account of some kind, or a CD, as you mentioned. You
Mhm.
know, we're counting on, we do have the FDIC, and we're counting on the strength and stability of that bank. But we've certainly seen plenty of examples in recent years and recent history of where, banks have gotten in trouble. And uh, thankfully, I don't believe there's been any instance yet where there has been um, funds that were not ultimately insured or returned to people. But there has been situations where there's been a prolonged period of time before people had access to their funds. With this being said, again, with our rising debt, our deficits, the U.S. dollar falling in value like it has, our treasuries that are no longer as sought after as they were even 12 months ago, let alone
Mhm.
10 years ago. These are all reasons that threatened the stability of our, not only our financial system, but part of that, our banking system. And the benefit to gold is that if you took 100 grand in the bank, to your point, 90% of that is being lent out, so there's risk involved with that to some
Yeah.
extent. Hopefully it never comes to fruition, but there is risk. When you
Mhm.
have 100 grand put into gold, that gold is just sitting there, that silver
Yep.
is just sitting there. And in recent years, it's gone up considerably in value, both gold
Mhm.
and silver, and it's expected that that's going to continue, which we've covered on numerous other episodes. So that's something that I think I can see why that would be a big motivation, or something that's pretty compelling to people, is in terms of why they want to get into physical metals. Now, jump into our last little thing here. The CC is going to put up the uh, the link for educational resources. These are some of the things that people can contact you for, Chris. Call or
Yep.
go to the website. Tell us a little bit about what we're looking at here, and why people would want to look at them or call for them.
Yeah. So what we try to do, especially with our Real Money Perspectives, which is one of our main newsletters there, we try to keep it updated several times a year with content about what's going on in the world of finance and precious metals. So somebody, even if they're not really following this on the day to day, can request these resources from us, periodically, just to get brought up to speed on things. We also have some specific reports that go into, precious metals, specifically the, IRA program, the war on cash, again, talking about, issues with a disappearing dollar, problems in the banking system, all of those kinds of things. So we've got a ton of resources. We only show a few of them on here, but that's why I really recommend people either give us a call, or go to the website and put in an information request, and then one of our advisors can get them the materials that are more targeted to whatever their concerns are. But if it's metal and economic related, we've probably got it.
That's very good suggestion. And that's the thing, is the information is free, and it's really paid for itself in spades for people who have contacted us over the last few years in particular. And look, there's the uncertainty and the instability that's out there now is not only much greater than it was a year or two ago, but by all accounts, again, given everything that's taking place around the world, which we certainly can't get into in today's program, but it just screams as to why this is such an important thing that a person have in their portfolio. Well, thank you for that, Chris. And for those of you tuned in, thanks for being here. If you're not subscribed to our podcast, please do so, as we'd love to talk to you more in the future. Other than that, have a great rest of your week, and we'll talk to you real soon.
Yep. Take care.